find us, we found you.
Hello and welcome to Two Guys and a Few Good Men. I am TJ Washuk.
And I'm Garrett Loberg.
And this is Movie Lowdown for the week of January 7th, 2018. Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, 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 dun. It's been a crazy week.
Did I say 2018?
You probably did. But it is 2019.
2019.
Just so you guys know. It is not 2018. Thank God it's not 2018. Today, this episode is brought to you by Bang.
We're on Groundhog's Day. It's going to be 2018 again.
Yeah. We're going to keep doing this over and over and over again.
Until we get it right.
Bang is a nutrition supplement drink. It is not endorsed by Two Guys and a Few Good Men, but we all just drink it. So thank you, Kyle.
Wouldn't be endorsed if we... I don't know.
Just fucking drink it.
Okay. Yeah, so let's get into the news.
Yeah. So this week, first up, we've got Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat is going to be doing an animated feature.
Yeah, last week we said James Wan was behind a live action Mortal Kombat. He has since stepped away from that because he wasn't able to, one, find a good director for it, and then two, wasn't having a budget that's going to be working for him.
Yeah, but this is going to be a different film. This is an animated version. And this is going to be starring Joe McHale and Jennifer Carpenter.
Yeah, and Joe McHale, he was in Community. Jennifer Carpenter, she's known for her role in Dexter.
Have you ever seen Joe McHale's E! Show that he had for a while, The Soup?
Yeah, I actually used to watch that when I was younger.
It's a really good show. I think that... I wonder if they're going to bring some comedy to it, or if they just heard his voice and they were like, you know, we need to have him.
Yeah, I mean, when I was... Before I started watching Community, I got him and Chris Hardwick mixed.
Yeah.
Because they are very similar.
Yeah, they got a goofy kind of tone to them. But what do you think about...
Yeah, so it's supposed to have the original, or not the original, but the same cast that they have had for the video games. So that's cool. That's good to see. As far as animated goes, I don't know.
I'm guessing that this is going to be handled... We didn't look that up. I'm guessing it's going to be handled by the same people that do the DC movies.
I would assume so.
Because of the whole... how they are in most of the DC games right now.
Yeah.
DC, I believe, owns them.
Yeah, Warner Brothers, which owns DC, bought Midway, which was the makers of Mortal Kombat in 2009.
Okay, that's right. We were talking about that. But
I just want to know how the art style is going to be.
Yes, and I like that they're taking the voice actors because that they had for the previous roles. So Scorpion in his game for 4, I believe, is the same voice, and the different characters that have been playing the same characters
for years now
are the same voices, and I think that that's a pretty smart idea. That's
because they're comfortable, you know, and they can.
Well, and a lot of people that are going to watch this are fans of the games, so that brings them into that reality a little bit better.
And the reason why they're probably bringing on Joel and Jennifer is you know, just to get notoriety, just so other people that aren't fans necessarily of the games might want to see these actors.
So I'd be interested to see how this comes out. Did they say it was going to be coming out this year?
No, I didn't see. It's probably
very
just
early in development.
It's pretty in like pre-production right now, you know.
Okay. Yeah. Well, how about the next news?
The next on the list, what do we have?
Kevin Hart will not be hosting the Grammys.
Yeah, so I think we talked about this before. Kevin Hart was recently going to be hosting the Grammys, or excuse me, the Oscars. And then people dug in his back posts from Twitter and said, no, you're talking about gays in a negative way. We don't want you hosting it. I'm yelling at the Oscars right now. Don't let him be a host. And the 10 people that yelled at the Oscars got him off the list as host.
Yep.
And then Kevin Hart went on Twitter to apologize. He said he was sorry for what he said. I mean, back then, people were making those type of jokes and it wasn't that big of a deal. But now, in the Me Too LGBTQ community, it's a big deal. So if you have posts online from 2009 that are negative toward that community, good luck having a job.
Yeah. And you know what sucks about this is that he's doing a lot of really good roles right now. Like
He's stepping it up.
Yeah, and I think the one with Bryan Cranston right now, I'm forgetting the title of that one.
It's like Upside Down or something.
Yeah,
Came out this month.
Yeah, and about him, helping somebody that is in need, and it's like a heartwarming story. Mm-hmm. Part of me wonders if they knew that this was going down before that, and they're like, you need to get in a movie that makes you look good, or if there's
Probably
mumbling. But this is the first time in 30 years that they have not had a host, which is the last time what happened last time.
Yeah, so sorry to go back on the story. So Kevin Hart said he wasn't beyond, but then Ellen wanted him to go back on as the host.
Yes.
So Ellen, went to the Academy and asked to get him on, and now Kevin Hart's still saying, no, I'm not doing it.
Do you blame him?
No, I don't blame it at all.
Yeah, I think that it's been a little bit overblown.
No, yeah, and people make a big deal about the Oscars. It's, I think, bigger than the Golden Globes. It's the biggest movie award ceremony of the year.
Yep.
Or, yes,
One
yeah,
of
the year.
One of the biggest.
I think it's the biggest.
Yeah.
Probably. But as far as this 30 years ago, there was a musical act that was put on by the producer and director of the Oscars for that year, and it was Snow White, and it had Rob Lowe in it.
So maybe we can cut a little clip of that in here.
Yeah, I'll put a little clip in here.
At this point right here.
Used to work a lot for Walt Disney, starring in cartoons every night and day.
But you said goodbye to Grumpy and Sleepy, left the dwarves behind, came to town to stay.
Lights keep on burning, cameras keep on turning. Ooh, rolling, rolling, keep the cameras rolling.
Oh God, Rob Lowe, what did you do?
And I like how I love how Snow White's just like,
Oh my gosh, this is so nuts. Oh my goodness.
It's Rob Lowe.
Oh my gosh.
how much blow do you think he was doing that
God.
night?
The only way Jesus Christ. The only way a musical act I think would do well in the Oscars is if they got Seth MacFarlane.
That or Andy Samberg and Lonely Island.
The Lone Man, yeah. If they pulled out their ass,
Yeah.
and turned it around and make fun of the Oscars,
See,
that would be a good catch.
They did that. I want to say, I can't remember if it was the Grammys or the Oscars where they did the opening, where they did when The Office was still around, and they had it where they were looking for a new regional manager. It was when Michael was leaving. And so they brought on a bunch of different characters from different shows on NBC, and it was really funny because I don't think they had I think they had a host that year, but it was like kind of like low key, like they didn't want to make a big deal, but it's just funny when they do stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I don't think they think about that often.
But this is also getting huge press in the news because Kevin Hart's a big name, and now people might even watch the Oscars this year because of that. Because it's whole debacle.
Oh, R.I.P.
Yeah. Next on the list?
We've got The Grinch is now the most profitable Christmas movie.
Yeah, this surprised me when
Of all
you said
time.
that.
Yeah.
Originally, it was Home Alone, and it was at something million.
500 million.
500 something million. And now The Grinch is at what?
Or no, it was 400 million for Home Alone.
Okay.
They're at 410 million, and The Grinch now is at 500 million.
Jeez.
And that's like a good 100 over what,
But
Home
also,
Alone.
it's probably not going to match its sales outside the box office.
No.
Because they had video games. They had, I want to say did they have a TV show spinoff?
Let me just
Or
say this.
something?
They had Macaulay Culkin.
Yeah.
That's,
He was the hottest childhood actor at the time. Yeah.
so...
And now he's trying to make his way back in.
Which I'm
Hollywood.
okay with. Have
No,
you seen
I'm-
a couple of his
yeah.
videos for that? I'm trying to think. I don't want to take too much time thinking. But there's a YouTuber that does movie reviews, and he's been keeping him on his show. He did a game review.
You mean Cinemassacre?
Maybe that was what it was.
Yeah, it's James Rolfe.
Yeah, and I like that. I watched that for a little bit. I didn't watch it fully, but it was still like fun
Yeah,
to
it was
see
good.
him.
I watched the one where they played his games, and then also they did like a skit where he had to play his. Oh no, they played his games, and then they also played Aladdin or something. No, not Aladdin. Some video game. Oh, Page Master.
Ah, okay.
But yeah, he was doing YouTube videos. He was doing like a few years ago, maybe like 5 years ago. He was in a YouTube skit for like a fake Lyft company.
That's right.
Remember
yeah.
that?
Oh my gosh.
Remember that skit?
Yeah. I don't remember it fully, but I remember it being like, what? Where did this come from?
He becomes he's like the Lyft driver, and then he captures some guy in a garage and like ties him up.
Oh my
It
gosh.
becomes like a creeper.
That's funny. Oh, I totally forgot about that.
Yeah.
Also, to piggyback on that, right now, Bumblebee is actually doing extremely well. It's at it was 300 million, and its initial budget was 100. So right now they're doing at least 200 over. Now it does not hold a candle to the first, second, and third ones.
Yeah.
But this is also a reboot. So I see why that it's not making the money that it should.
Especially after the last one, the last night I think it was called.
It was under 100 million. It lost about 100 million.
Yeah.
For them. So, it's still good. Whether I don't think that they can make a trilogy out of it. They will. Let's be honest.
Yeah, let's be honest.
Let's be honest. They will. But I don't think that they're gonna. I think this will be their peak. I think if they make another one, they're really going to have to push hard. And the thing about Transformers movies, we talked about this last time, they're crazy and everything.
Yeah.
But the thing is you change characters each time. And it adds to the story, but at the same time, I feel like it takes away from... If Bumblebee's met all these different people, it
takes away from it.
Yeah, because, you're thinking, like, yeah, he's going to run into a bunch of people, but he's also getting all these people in trouble. Putting them potentially into a death situation. So you talk about this movie that just came out. This little girl's almost like this 18-year-old girl's almost killed
many times,
and the boy that she's like hanging out with in the movie. And then, you got Sam Witwicky, which was Shia LaBeouf. He's almost getting killed. And, if they made another one, that's another person almost getting killed. Shame on you, Bumblebee. You're not that great of a character. You're just getting everybody in trouble. So
why don't they try an animated Transformers?
That's been one of my biggest points is they could easily do that and Michael Bay it all up. Like,
yeah, right.
I don't mind explosions when it's not
animated.
Like, yeah. And you can also take different forms of the Autobots. You can do. I honestly think they should do the one Beast mode.
Oh,
the
Beast Wars.
Beast Wars. Because you can move it away from humans, for one.
Yeah.
And have them in a desert or like in Africa. Like maybe that's where all of them land, and they could,
The reason I think they throw in humans is it's more relatable.
I know. Yeah.
Type of deal.
But I think that you'd get that nostalgia because that was a really big show.
Yeah, it was.
In the 90s. That was a huge game changer for like the animated because that was a whole CGI mess.
Yeah.
But it was still new. It was still new.
And it was one of the
good.
best CGIs at the time. It looked really good.
Which
now,
it doesn't hold up
no,
really well now.
I went back to watch it and like, oh god, this is pretty bad. It's almost as bad as that reboot show that used to be on Toonami. The anime.
Oh yeah, it was
that bad.
It's like that blockiness. It was so new.
It was like PlayStation 2 graphics or PlayStation graphics.
PlayStation for sure.
Yeah.
Just very smoothed out. So, but yeah, that little bit of news of people doing profitable in their movies. So
now for the negative.
This was just released an hour ago, so I think we're pretty ahead of the curve on this one. I think this is because we looked on Google, the mighty Google, and there was no news on this yet. So this was just broken about an hour or two ago. Lionsgate is going to be closing their Codeblack division, laying off 26 people, which it doesn't seem like a lot. But that's a whole division.
Exactly.
That that edit, that do the credits, that do everything in the movie.
Exactly.
So, and one of the big reasons is they are down about 40 million from last year.
Yeah, they released decent amount of movies this year, but a lot of them didn't do well.
I think the biggest one was
Robin Hood.
Yeah.
Robin Hood was a stinker.
Yeah. Did they lose about 300 or was it 200?
I think it said 100.
100? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, either way, that's still a lot. And you think about it, 40 million isn't that big of a, when you're talking about box office numbers, for being down. I mean, if a studio was down 100 million, that would be huge. Mm-hmm. But that's still 40 million, and that is a lot.
No, exactly. And what was it called? Codeblack? Mm-hmm. Yeah, Codeblack. They're mostly they do African American films. They did Kevin Hart's two stand-ups, and a few others. I want to say there was another
Halle Berry
movie, yeah.
And Blind Spotting. That wasn't the
new one.
Yeah, but it's sad because that is a pretty big portion of something that they were trying to make. There wasn't a lot of films in there, so it's obviously only been
still new.
I think it was probably 2013 when Kevin Hart's stand-up came out.
Yeah.
So it's been about like 6 years, and they're having to shut that down. Mm-hmm. So, but one of the only reasons is because they are down about 40 million,
and they had to cut something.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And so it puts them at 1,600 employees, but that's still 26 that. Bye.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll find other jobs in the industry, but
oh yeah. So, yeah. But that was sad. We just saw that and I was like, But they do have a really good, profitable year coming up next year. We've got John Wick 3, Hellboy, and then what was the other one?
Knives Out.
Knives Out, which you're really excited about.
Yeah, it has a lot of different actors in it, including Daniel Craig, and then Rian Johnson is directing it. And
is it Rian Johnson?
Rian Johnson.
It's from Star Wars, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Rian Johnson.
Rian Johnson.
It's Ray and Ryan. Whatever.
Yeah, it's spelled weird. But yeah, that is it for this week's news. Let's move on to the trailers.
We got movie trailers.
First up, we have Velvet Buzzsaw.
You know what? We've been hearing about this for a couple weeks.
Have we?
Oh, I've been hearing about it a lot. It's been talked about Jake Gyllenhaal and his different, a lot of like Spider-Man stuff. He's talking about this and how he's doing this before Spider-Man. Man, this was impressive.
Yeah. I kind of wish this was a show.
Yeah.
Rather than a movie.
It would be much better. A little bit longer.
Yeah.
Like a kind of
like a series, kind of like a American Horror in a way. That's what it kind of reminds me of American Horror.
Yeah, because it's like such a weird concept. If you think about it, this is about basically what we got from the trailer. This is about they find an artist who is just he's got these amazing paintings and they're captivating people and find out that they're a little bit more to them than meets the eye.
Yeah, it's made with like blood and other parts.
The guy is crazy and he's been in a mental institute, the guy that painted it, and then he dies at the beginning of it, I'm guessing.
That's what I'm assuming, yeah. This kind of reminds me of, at least that part of the movie reminds me of this movie called Art School Confidential. It has only a few known actors in it, but basically this kid gets hold of these paintings and passes it off as his own, and these paintings are depictions of the strangler that's going around school killing people, and he's passing off as his own, and then they finds out like the parts that they add on to the paintings are actually like the person's jewelry, their hair, and stuff like that.
Okay,
it's a pretty good movie. I watched it when I was in college for art class.
This looks...
This has a huge lineup. Let's see here. We got John Malkovich, Jake Gyllenhaal, Billy Magnuson. Yeah. He was in Game Night this year. Last year he was in Ingrid Goes West. We got Natalia Dreyer, Toni Collette, and a few others that I noticed. Oh, and one of the guys from Blind Spotting, David Diggs.
Yes, David Diggs, yeah. This looks like a pretty solid flick.
And it's Netflix.
They specifically put this one out to theaters, which means that they're looking for a pretty big return on it. Because they didn't. Did they put Bird Box in the theaters?
I don't know.
I don't think they did, because
Okay.
we would have heard a lot more about it if it was in the theaters because of the box office numbers. So I wonder if they're now thinking ahead of time and going, okay, well, if people are really liking this now and the copies that we're sending out to test out, we should start putting this on.
They did that with the Ballad of Buster Scruggs.
Yes. Oh,
last
did
year. Yeah, they put it in select theaters.
Okay. And you know what? That one, I saw that one. I actually really liked like 3 of the scenes in it.
Same.
But the other scenes are just really like long, drawn out, and boring to me. So this I could see in theaters doing well.
Yeah.
Something like this, and it's the creator. It's from the person that wrote Nightcrawler, and that, if you haven't seen that movie, that's an extremely good movie with Jake Gyllenhaal.
Dan Gilroy.
Yep. So he's had a couple of them. He did The Bourne Legacy, which I actually really liked.
Yeah.
That was a really good
almost
movie.
like a reboot, kind of.
People didn't really like that one, but it looks solid, and I'm really excited. I saw the trailer went up, I think it was today or yesterday.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's cool. I have to watch it, and I never did, and I'm glad that we watched it together because that was pretty amazing. All right, next up we've got Hotel Mumbai. This is a movie by Anthony Mars. This is basically a movie it's in India, and it's from a live event that actually happened.
Yeah.
Based on a true story about a terrorist group that goes to
Attacks
India.
the Taj Mahal.
And
Or the Taj Hotel, right?
yeah,
Not Taj Mahal.
they're a little bit underwhelmed by this because a lot of Indian forces weren't trained for this, and they even bring that up. It almost is like a spiritual successor to Hotel Rwanda. It seems like.
Okay, yeah.
I thought about that, and I went, Hotel Mumbai is like it has like the same title. So this looks really good. It looks intense.
Oh, it does.
That's one of the.
When I was in theaters, this guy next to me with his wife is like, "Wow, that was intense."
Yeah, I mean, the trailer just kind of hits you like a train.
Oh yeah, it's very fast paced,
and they show a lot in it, but it's also just a lot of like anxiety in it, just because there's a lot going on, and they show a lot. Ari Hammer's in it. I don't know what his whole portion of that's gonna be. Jason Isaacs in it. Dave Patel. Patel.
Yeah, that's how I pronounce it.
Okay.
I think Indian movies are going to be making a strong point in Hollywood here soon.
Really?
Because Chinese movies are doing, starting to get big here.
True.
So the next step is India.
And I don't know how that will transition over. Because with their movies, they have a lot more comedy in them, and there's a lot more weird stuff in them. And when I say weird, I don't mean bad weird. It's not like what?
Yeah,
it's just very goofy with the way they handle stuff. A lot of musical numbers in movies that you don't expect.
So you're talking about Seth MacFarlane movie?
Kind of. Yeah. Maybe he'll have something like that. But this looks pretty good. I probably won't see it just because it triggered my PTSD right away, and I haven't had that in a while. So I was like, this is definitely one of those movies that's going to be very intense. It reminds me of Hotel Rwanda. I wonder how the violence is going to be in it, if they're going to show a lot of blood. I do know that it is, or I believe it is rated R, or it's going to be rated R. But it does come out soon, so we'll be able to see that pretty quickly.
Yeah. Trying to see here if it has a rating.
Not yet, as we can see.
Weird. Okay, doesn't have a rating yet, but yeah, it comes out March 22nd.
It's 2 hours too, so it's gonna be a long movie.
Yeah.
So, but trailer looks okay.
Yeah. That is gonna do it for this week's movie trailers. We just had 2 this week. Didn't really see any other ones that came out.
No, and if they were,
there were a few that came out last week that we didn't touch on. Just because we had so much to go over. Like The Kid in the Stone or whatever, that King Arthur one.
Yeah, and to be honest, I think that's going to bomb hard.
Oh, no, it is.
With
I just wanted to mention that.
they put up a Merlin scene for like an ad on YouTube, and it was so cringeworthy. Like, he was doing this where he was like doing
Jesus
like, and like things were multiplying.
Dude, he looks like he's stoned or on acid.
Yeah.
Or on some type of drugs.
So that's one that I'm like, let's see how that works out. But for our movie for the week.
Yeah, movie for the week. I saw it on Christmas, and you saw it this week.
Yep.
We're doing Vice.
What do you say? I want you to be my VP. I want you. You're my vice.
Well, George, I'm the CEO.
Vice was a movie by Adam McKay.
Yeah.
Known for The Big Short. He's done a couple other movies, but I can't think of. He's actually in talks. I'm gonna get off topic for 1 second here. He was in talks with maybe doing a Silver Surfer movie.
Yeah.
So we'll see if that ends up going through, because Marvel is definitely trying to move their cards around and do more, probably more obscure now that they have the Fantastic Four and Fox rights. So
He produced the other guys.
that's right. Yeah, he's done a couple other.
Ant-Man, the writer for Ant-Man. So he's worked on Marvel before.
Yeah, that's true. But this was I felt it was underwhelming. I felt like there could have been a lot more funny parts in it.
I thought it was still funny though.
It was still funny. No. They
It's
have
very cheeky,
very cheeky. Yeah. Christian Bale was amazing.
right?
Absolutely.
Now you see why he won that.
Oh my God.
Award
He,
ceremony?
just seeing his weight, it makes me wonder.
There
if-
was prosthetics, definitely.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
like towards the end of his life, or towards the end, where he's older, like
Yeah.
in this time period, like his stomach was just so big, and it was like it was either comically, comically too big, or I don't know what, but
Christian Bale said at the Golden Globes that he probably wouldn't have won this award if it wasn't for the people who worked on makeup and costume.
yeah, I mean, and he looked like Dick Cheney.
He looks so good. Sam Rockwell, did
oh
he
my-
look awesome?
Sam
Like I was
Rockwell,
telling you in the top
by
10.
far my favorite part of the movie.
Yeah.
He did George Bush perfect.
Right?
I mean, just the scene at there's a middle part where they're meeting George Bush Sr. and they're at a gala, and he's just hammered, and he's like, oh,
Drunk as heck,
Don't
yeah.
even worry about it. Like,
Falling over and stuff.
yeah. So it was, and they talk about a lot of things that people don't really know, like how George Bush was already planned on being the president, and how they did the recount, and it just went through.
It played out like a Roger Stone kind of a movie.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is like I said, very political. There was comedy in it, but cheeky comedy.
Yeah.
Made fun of Fox News.
Yep. I will spoil something on there because
Yeah.
it was probably you brought it up in our top 10 for last year.
Yeah.
There's a scene at one point where basically Dick Cheney is putting his life together, and
he left politics to go to the private sector, and he's done.
yeah, he's got his own. He's a CEO of a oil company, and that was it. And then they start the credits.
Yeah.
And it's so great because all of a sudden they're he's got dogs, and then it just fades
Award-winning golden retrievers.
and then they have the phone going off in the middle of the credits.
Yeah.
And then it starts all over again, and it's
It's like, who is it? All right, you need my help?
Yeah.
All right, let's go. Yeah, that's
So-
about, I think, 45 minutes in to the movie.
yeah, about halfway. Because I definitely was sitting there like,
What the fuck? Right?
what? And so this was it was a good movie. I really liked it. Adam McKay's really good at doing cheeky comedy in the sense that it's very subtle, but at the same time,
I wonder if you could see, I guess, kind of the comedy that was in this, that was in Ant-Man.
yeah, I guess
Because he wrote both.
that's true too. Yeah, and I like the heart attack scenes.
Yeah.
Heart attack scenes were by far that's one of the big things that they made kind of cheeky. Oh, by the way, he did have 6 heart attacks. Was it 5 or 6?
I think it was 6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And at one point he falls to the ground, and they're like, can you breathe? He goes, I'm having a heart attack, dumbass.
Yeah.
So
And they did show the buckshot scene, which was pretty funny. And they showed him in Iraq, I believe.
yep.
Yeah.
So really good biopic. There's a lot of stuff I didn't realize, like the torture scenes that they talk about, and him being kind of a snake in the sense that he figured all this stuff out before he even worked for George Bush.
I know.
And he knew exactly what he was.
Shows how smart the guy is. you
Yeah.
know?
And even when he was with Donald Rumsfeld, who was kind of his mentor,
Yeah.
it's cool to see that, you know, he put together all these branches and how he filled them with specific people.
Oh, and it was crazy to see like how like a piece of shit he was when he was younger. He was a drunk alcoholic, and then he turned his life around because his wife's like, "All right, enough's enough. You gotta make money for me."
Yep.
And he's like, "All right,
And that's
making money."
And that's really how it was back then. You know, you were either a drunk or you got your life together. And I mean, they're from West Virginia, I want to say.
I think so. Somewhere out East Coast,
Either that or a Dakota, wherever it was.
or Carolina.
Yeah. But that's. I like that when he had the heart attack, his wife went out there and rallied the people.
Yeah, she was the one doing the speeches.
And you know, I liked how they didn't make it all sexist too. Like, you know, a bunch of there were a bunch of guys with beers and their shirts off, and it's like, I'm glad they didn't make it too political in the sense they just did it like, oh, she helped him do that. And that's all they portrayed. They didn't make it like, oh, like hot girl in the South or whatever.
Over sexualize her.
Yeah.
Type of deal.
And I think,
was this the movie that they had? Hopefully it is, where they had the like they did scenes from Shakespeare.
yes,
During the sex scene.
Yeah, and then they cut it off, and then she's like, "You're gonna do this, aren't you?" And he's like, "Yep."
Yeah, dude, that was so good.
So yeah, all around it was a solid movie. I'm glad that I got to see it because at first I was kind of hesitant, and then you saw it and you were pretty
I liked
happy
it
about it. So
I mean, it wasn't the best movie of the year. Well, that's why it was on my number 10. But it definitely had some bright points. The acting,
yeah,
for sure. And then there's a few comedy moments that were like I haven't seen before in a movie, which was cool. Like I said, like Shakespeare part. But yeah, overall good. It's sitting about 7.1 on IMDb, and
no one cares about Rotten Tomatoes.
no, fuck that place.
Can't believe Venom's still at 21%.
Oh, 21 now?
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus. Speaking of which, I'm going to be getting that on Blu-ray here soon.
Hell yeah, especially if they have the romantic version.
Oh, fuck.
Eddie, you're a loser. So am I.
But, do we have a question of the week?
I didn't have any questions
No.
of the week. Do you think that they should do a musical number for the Oscars? If so, who should do it? Seth MacFarlane or
Lonely Island?
yeah?
I would like to see, Lonely Island. I like their humor better.
Yeah, they have more. Like his are like showstoppers or show toppers, and so it's like over dramatic, and I love that. That's the whole part of
He's
his.
very Broadway-esque.
Yeah, and I think that if they did that, it would be taking away from it. So, but
yeah, let's sign off here. I am TJ Washuk.
and I am the Oscars.
Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. And as always, we love you. And good night. This has been a Two Guys Production.